Sing Sing. I thought it was a documentary, but it's a drama. Stars Coleman Domingo as a basically he's a prisoner at Sing Sing. He was committed. His character was committed. Incarcerated for a crime he didn't commit, a murder, basically. And in order to pass the time, he creates basically a theater program at Sing Sing. And the whole thing is about him. They just did Midsummer's Night, the Shakespeare one, A Midsummer's Dream. Is that the right run?
Too much barbecue makes it difficult for words to come out of your mouth, apparently.
I know. Well, apparently I don't know Shakespeare, and I don't.
That's okay.
And so
okay.
So the prisoners they decide, let's do a comedy next, and they decide they want to what kind of comedy you want to do, and they decide to do a mashup. But the movie really is about this community of prisoners who basically do theater. And they bring in this director from the outside. He puts them through all these games with the idea of making them vulnerable, making them open, and a friendship is built. And then by the end of the movie, you realize, A, this is a true story, kind of. B, everyone except Coleman Domingo was a alumnus of this program. Wait
a sec. Are you saying Coleman Domingo did prison time?
No, I'm saying everyone but Coleman Domingo were.
Oh, everyone but. Sorry. I
alumnus of this program. Yeah, I mean, Coleman Domingo is there to basically be the emotional and the dramatic heart of this piece, and the guy he plays a minor character in the movie, and to me, but the reason I like this movie so much is it is just this story about redemption, the idea that no matter where you are in life and no matter how, Coleman's character was there because he was wrongly accused of a murder. The others were there because they did bad things. And that this program taught them, basically got them to really discover themselves, find ways of portraying characters. And this program called RTA, Rehabilitation Through Arts, it boasts a 3% recidivism rate for people who are a part of it. So, for the most part, if you're part of this program and you go back out into the real world, you ain't coming back to Sing Sing. That's for sure. And again, it was not only performed by the actual alumni of this program, but it was written by them as well, because you see a lot of their stories, a lot of their experiences within it. And again, stories, it just kind of, when we think about, the incarcerated, we think about a group of incarcerated. But when you look at this story, you realize that they are individuals who want to get back to their families, who have to come to grips with the crimes they committed. Coleman's character, there's a piece of evidence that was found that exonerates him, but the clemency board wouldn't accept the evidence. And so now, the guys who actually did something and were paroled are leaving Sing Sing sooner than he is. And they were there. I think, I posted the Q&A on the member channel, so you can watch that. And it's a very uplifting and inspiring film.
Cool. All right.
Let's move on to let's do Dickweed.
Oh my God, Dickweed.
Yeah. Dickweed. Okay. All right. So Dickweed is a true life crime documentary. One of the main reasons I like this movie is because the crime took place in Orange County, and when they go and visit the scene of the crime, it's like, oh, I know exactly where that is. There's a moment where they're interviewing the victim, who's kind of in shadows, so you can't recognize him. But in the window behind him is this building. It's like, oh, I know where that building is. But let's get into the story. Story is basically two people who were kidnapped in the middle of the night, dragged out into the desert, and told that they want $1 million. Where's the $1 million? He apparently has $1 million, and he doesn't have $1 million, not even close. And they said, well, if you're not going to give me $1 million, I'm going to cut your dick off. And when he couldn't give him the $1 million, they cut his dick off, and then they throw the dick away. And they Well,
we're losing viewers as we speak, I think now.
Yeah, I know. Everyone's grabbing their crotches right now.
Oh my God.
So the documentary is about the investigation of this crime. And basically it's surrounded kind of the Orange County weed industry. And if you lived in Orange County, it's been kind of there's a lot of weed in Orange County, a lot of dispensaries, and a lot of them legit, a lot of them not so much. And they kidnapped the guy thinking that he had money, and he didn't. And so they did what he did. And but the problem is that it was almost impossible trying to investigate this. And they ultimately do. They ultimately catch the guy, and that is a story in of itself. The guy who did it, insane. He's crazy, sociopath, and they interview him. And so this is just one of those weird ones. And the nice thing about this, what I like about this one, it's a very much an independent documentary, but it looks just like anything you'd see on Netflix, on HBO, and Showtime. It's just a well done, well told. The Orange County investigator and the Orange County DA are characters within themselves. The DA is this woman who is just takes no Fs. And suffers no fools, and she lets you know it, and it's just all over there. So
wait, it's like takes no Fs. Is it takes no Fs or gives no Fs?
Gives no Fs.
Gives no S's, or takes no Fs.
Isn't it?
I'm just messing with you. I'm just messing with you.
Well, who gives a fuck? Where are we?
Rarely swear.
20 minutes ago.
You rarely swear, man.
You pressured me into it there, Gore.
It's all good.
All right. Here we'll let's see. I think I talked about it last time. Secret Mall Apartment.
No, tell us about it.
Oh, you want to tell me? Okay. So this is one of those where I got recognized. The director recognized me and wanted me to know that how much he appreciated my review of his last movie, which was Lily Topples the World, which is about a girl who's one of the top domino artists out there. He did this movie. Basically, it takes place. There was back in the early 2000s, Providence, Rhode Island, the depressed area used to be a big industrial town, big mill town. Developers came in and basically demolished a bunch of mills. And these mills were inhabited by artists who kind of squatting there. And they built this giant mall. And one of the artists, Michael Townsend, decided that his art is kind of this temporary type art. He's going to go in and build an apartment. Or no, the challenge was that he was going to stay in the mall as long as he could, live there basically. And while living there, he found this open space, this massive space between the curvature of the outside of the mall and then the mall proper, and realized that he could actually build an apartment there. And so he gets a bunch of his students, 8 of his students, and they build an apartment. They have to climb this tall ladder, steel ladder. They got sofas up there. They got a dining room table. They got a couple of china closets. They were able to wire electricity into it. So they had PlayStation. They were playing PlayStation all the time. And then in order to kind of hide the fact that there was an apartment there, they realized they need to build a cinder block wall. And so they smuggled cinder blocks and cement into this small space and built an entire apartment. And it went on for 4 years. And it's a pretty interesting story. It's a prank movie in a way, but it's also about this guy, Michael Townsend, who is an artist who basically does tape art. And most of his artwork is temporary, meaning he puts it up. If you see it, you see it. If you don't, you don't. And then, time will wear away at that art. And it's kind of half about him and half about this other one, about the prank. And, this is a very fascinating documentary, just from the story itself and the guy himself as well.
One of my favorite prank films I've ever seen. I saw at South by Southwest more than 20 years ago. I'll never forget this movie at the original Alamo Drafthouse in downtown Austin, Texas. It's a little short documentary. It's about a guy who hated his family. He hated his family, and he was going back to visit his family for Christmas. So he was going to make a fruitcake. So he gets this big aluminum bowl, and he's making all the stuff for the fruitcake. And he goes out in the street, and he takes like dirt and puts it in the fruitcake. And he's going up to homeless people who stick their hands in it and spit into the fruitcake
Hawking
mix.
loogies. Yeah.
He does all this stuff, and the entire audience is howling and freaking out, and all this gross stuff goes into it. He goes and you see him bake the fruitcake. And then he goes to visit his family, and they're all like, "Oh, good to see you." Oh, and he brings the fruitcake. It is like one of the audience lost their minds.
Oh,
They're all
my God.
going, "Whoa!" And he gets the fruitcake and he puts it up on the counter, and his whole family's there, and you just see him sitting there like this. It is that now. I have a theory that I actually don't think that the fruitcake his family ate is the one that you saw all that stuff happen. It's just my personal opinion, but I more than 20 years ago, I saw this short film. I forget the name of it, but I'll never forget it. It was a great prank. And I love that kind of creativity.
Yeah.
That it's just like, I mean, look, he could have just like did all this stuff, and then suddenly he could have showed his family the video of that brilliant stuff. So I appreciate at least the approach for this other film.
I mean, half of that movie is what goes on in your mind.
Right.
As it happens.
Because you're thinking, what are these people's thoughts like if they really know what's going on? All right,
going back to Dickweed, there are reenactments, and the detective he's like at one point during the movie he talks about how getting your dick cut off is not as bad as you think it is, and it's all in your head, and that the majority of the pain is in your head. Sorry, I didn't. Yeah, stuck that in there. All right, let's move on.
Right. Hey, let's get to the next one. What do you want to review?
Whatever it takes. We'll talk about whatever it takes.
Okay, I can't wait for the next two because I know about these movies.
Yeah, I'm saying the best for last, but whatever it takes. Excuse me. So, a couple years before the pandemic, 2019, there's this couple living in Boston, in the Boston area, in Massachusetts, and the woman. This is a story that's been on the news, so you may know where I'm going with it. But a woman, this middle-aged couple, they did an e-commerce blog, did it for a long time. This woman got a death threat, basically telling her, why are you trying to ruin eBay, basically? Why are you trying to ruin the online auction business, blah, blah, blah. So the harassment, she gets cyber harassed. It gets worse and worse. They dox her. They send her they try to send her a pig fetus. They send her a pig mask. At one point, her husband, they start sending her pizzas in the middle of the night. Her husband is followed by a mysterious black car. A week later, he's followed now by a mysterious silver car. And so now they got the police in on this. And soon the police get the FBI in on this. And they found out that the people who were stalking them was eBay. Is
that real?
That is real. It was.
Why was eBay stalking?
Because she was critical. She was following eBay for a very long time.
I heard about this story.
Yeah.
Like eBay, like going after people. This is
in fact, 6 people went to jail for it.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and but the insane thing. Okay, so we talk a lot about this from an entertainment standpoint, but eBay started off as an online auction company or online auction site, and the founder of eBay, his whole idea is, how do you do this? How do you bring people together, and how do you avoid fraud and stuff like that? And the founder of eBay basically said, we believe in that people are generally trustworthy and will do the right thing. And they built this entire platform on that. I remember selling stuff on eBay a long time ago. And, it was, and for the most part, I never really had bad experiences with it. And there was this whole idea of, that people will do the right thing. And this is a great place to exchange, items, buy and sell items, blah, blah, blah. But the problem is eBay got so big, it went public. And the moment it went public and became corporate, that's when eBay changed. And what we soon find out is that not only did eBay change, eBay's function changed to the point where they created an intelligence department, one that rivaled the CIA. And so they were like, for some reason, they were following the news closely about other countries and what was going on in the world. It was run by ex-CIA operatives. And eBay basically had its own intelligence agency within this online auction. And so when this woman comes along and basically outs eBay in terms of, where's the money going, their expenditures, the CEO allegedly, down the line said, we got to take her out. And the intelligence department was the group that took her out, basically. And in fact, none of them would talk to them except one person. And she was the one driving. She was the one who rented the cars that were stalking the couple. And more insanely, the guy who was running the department was a Svengali type. And they don't go into any details other than the fact that he was dating. Basically, his staff was all women who were under the age of 30, and he dated a lot of them. And so, this is one insane documentary you have to see. Chris, are you still there?
I'm here. Okay. I am there. My apologies, man. I'm trying to.
Yeah, eat. I know. You gotta do it. You gotta shove.
Hey, sorry. My apologies. Okay, I'm back. No, I heard everything you said. I really want to see that because I heard about how eBay is just nuts, and I used to use eBay all the time. Mm-hmm. And then I got scammed a couple times. And then there's a lot of, and also using eBay used to be so easy. Now it's like, you have to, there's so many intricacies for it. Mm-hmm. For sellers. It's really for professionals only.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's the thing is when the corporations took over eBay, it became brand focus.
Right.
So it became a place for Nike to sell its wear and all.
Yeah, it's annoying. Or auctions. They do auctions for charity, which is fine, but it's like now it's become more professional. I miss the Wild West of eBay when I could just sell weird stuff. And look, I took it very much as a responsibility. I was out of work like in the late 90s for a little bit, couple months, and I made like a full-time living selling stuff on eBay. Now it was like full-time work to make a full-time living, but it was weird. There was like this couple month stretch where I was just like, looking for work, and eBay saved me. So I have to give them credit. And it was a good way to get rid of stuff too.
Well, living near Disneyland, I kind of got into the buying collectibles and then selling it on eBay, and did pretty good for a little while.
Did popcorn buckets tie into that at all? Like
some of them. I mean, like the Han Solo in carbonite popcorn bucket sold very well.
Oh my God. I have that.
Yeah, I have one too.
I have it, but I kept it because I thought it was cool.
No, I still have mine.
What are the Dune?
And some of this stuff is from my collecting days.
What are the Dune popcorn buckets going for?
Yeah, look at that. Yeah. So hey, we can move on to let's go to Sasquatch.
Wait, no, we gotta look this up. $100. There's one for $40, which is about what it costs. No, it's $25. $100, almost 100. Oh my God, they're going for $80, $100. Wow.
Yeah. Well, I want to get mine.
I was supposed to give you one. I might not be able to now. No, I'm kidding. Okay. Next movie, Alan. And let's this one.
Sasquatch Summer. Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay. I can't wait to hear this one. This is coming to theaters in like a month or so.
Yeah, in April. And from the Zellner brothers, which I understand you have you know them.
I love the Zellner brothers. The Zellner brothers live in Texas. They've been making movies for years. They've had movies at Sundance. Just a couple of the titles. Plastic Utopia is a movie that they made years ago. They did Kumiko, the Treasure Hunter. They also did, I want to find this one movie. They did like a bunch of short films. They've done so many of these movies. And one of the movies they did that I thought was really interesting it's called Foxy and the Weight of the World. Look this movie up. Foxy and the Weight of the World. David Zellner is, I got to share it. I got to share a screen here. It's about a guy this guy's a complete a-hole. Okay. He's a complete a-hole. just like he beats people up. He's mean to people. He's a jerk at the bar. He's cruel to women. He's just a jerk. And someone poisons him, and he's got very short time to live. And he's talking to his cute dog as he dies. It's a 9-minute short from 2005. Foxy and the Way to the World. I'm sure you can find the short film because the Zellner brothers have put like their short films. These guys are wildly creative. They have an amazing resume, and I will watch anything that they put out. So I'm super excited because I saw the trailer for this and I was like, what is this movie? It looks so weird. And I'm like, oh, Zellner brothers. They have the most bizarre sense of humor.
This movie is more insane than the trailer. Let's put it that way.
Tell me about it. Tell me about it.
Okay, so I can't tell you much because I think the beauty of this movie is to experience it for the first time yourself without much. Right. But I will say it's a beautiful movie. It's shot in Northern California. It's about Sasquatches, and so they went to the area where Sasquatches, are, which is Northern California, around the Humboldt area. Just beautiful. It's stars. It's shot like one of those old Disney nature documentaries, where they just bring in cameras and they kind of put the animals in kind of situations that they wouldn't normally be in, but as a way to kind of tell the story. Well, that's what happens here with this Sasquatch family. There's 4 of them. Kind of the patriarch, played by the other Zellner. Not David, but I got it here. But Nathan Zellner.
Yeah, Nathan and David.
It also stars Jesse Eisenberg and Riley Keough as kind of the mom and dad Sasquatch, and then Christoph Zedek plays the baby, the child Sasquatch. And it's basically, this whole movie is just about what life is like as the Sasquatch. And from what the Zellners say, that they consulted experts and that this movie is 100% accurate in terms of how Sasquatch lives. You talk about crazy. I'll just get into the thing you saw in the trailer, which happens right at the beginning of the movie. Jesse Eisenberg and Riley Keough's characters, they're having sex, and she gets pregnant. And so this movie is about their survival. Living in the woods. Part of it is kind of how do they survive? Where do they get their foods? Where a lot of sex. There's this is not for kids because there are peepees and boobs, and let's see, how much more should I reveal? And there's elements where they're running into remnants of man, so kind of that thing. But it is an insane movie. From what I understand, at Sundance, people were walking out of this movie. At South by Southwest, everyone was howling at this movie.
Because Sundance audiences, they can be a little elitist and a little, they can be picky. They can be picky. At Sundance, I feel like there's certain movies that will not play Sundance that will 100% play South by Southwest. Yeah. And the Zellner brothers just have a reputation. I love them because their sense of humor is weird, and I love it.
You know what it is in terms of comedies, there is that line of decency, and I like movies that cross that line. Even I don't necessarily have to have a reason or story reason for it to cross it. They just cross it, and this one does. I mean, essentially what it is it's 4 people dressed up as Sasquatches doing what animals do, and literally everything that animals do. I mean, in my mind,
you mean does a Sasquatch poop in the woods?
I don't know. I mean, that's the thing is, all these scenes are coming up in my head, and it's like I don't want to spoil it, and I'm not going to spoil it. So I'll just say it's insane, and it's crazy. I think my only complaint about this movie is because it's basically following them, and that each scene is basically a random scene of something that it's kind of like a series of skits. There's no sense of direction in the movie, other than the fact that you're following the Riley Keough character through her gestation and ultimate birth, which is even more insane. You just really don't know where we're headed with this because everything that happens to him is very random. And so it's hard to get a sense of, am I halfway through the movie? Is the movie almost over? And that would be my only complaint about the movie. But other than that, yeah, this is a hell of a fun movie to watch.
I
And
can't wait.
yeah.
I can't wait. There's a standee. They're promoting this big. I've seen the trailer
Mm-hmm.
recently at AMC, and there is a standee at the AMC Burbank 16. It's just so weird. It's like it's got that A24 feel. I don't know if it's is it A24? I don't remember. I think
It
it
is
might
Bleecker
be.
Street. It's Bleecker Street.
Yeah, Bleecker Street. But they like there's these small A24 Bleecker Street neon, these kind of smaller indies that really curate the films well, which I love. That one's on my radar for sure. All right, now it's time, Alan.
Actually, I forgot the Nicolas Cage one. I forgot to put it on there, but Which Cage
one?
was there. It's called Arcadian. I didn't put it on the list.
Well, but, we need a. Did you want to review that movie?
Yeah, let me go through that one real quick. I mean, it's Nick Cage. He was literally at the Academy Awards the night before.
Okay.
Arcadian review. There we go. But this is let's just say it's like A Quiet Place. Nick Cage plays a father who has two sons, and he's protecting them from this weird alien whatever that stalks everybody at night. So you do what you do during the day, but at night you have to lock down your house, lock every door, barricade every door, because if you don't, they'll come in and they'll kill you. And in the story here, he has two sons. They're both teenagers. One falls in love with a girl who lives at a farm across the way. He doesn't come home one night. And fearing the worst, Nick Cage has to go out and track down his son, leaving the other one at home to fend for himself. And let's just say that what I told you right there, you would think that's an entire movie. That's only the first act of the movie. It expands from there. One thing I will say is Nick Cage comes across in this. He plays a father who loves his son and teaches them survival skills, but it's a very subdued performance. There's really only one Nick Cage moment in this movie, and it's great. It builds up to it. And when was the last time you saw a movie about a father and his sons? In fact, at dinner, the very first dinner in the movie, they're talking about the situation they're in, and he basically says, "All right, the son's getting in a fight." He breaks it up and he says, "We're men here," and he holds up a knife. He says, "I am a man," and then jams it into the table. And then he makes his sons do the same thing. "I am a man. I am a man." I mean, that's patriarchy there. And it's like, how did this get past the sensitivity readers? Makes you wonder. But
so do you recommend it?
I absolutely recommend it. It's very much in the vein of A Quiet Place. So
it looks good. I looked it up. I probably should, but I looked it up, and Nick Cage. I think that's awesome.
Yeah, I think it's a great role because it's a very grounded role compared to what you know him to do. And grounded Nick Cage is just as good as wild Nick Cage.
Nice.